Heartwarming moment, little girl's incredible plea for food reveals hidden kindness in strangers. Mia burst into the local diner, her heart racing like a hummingbird's wings. Little legs bouncing with excitement, she took a deep breath, filling her lungs with the rich scent of pancakes and coffee. This wasn't just any ordinary day for the 8-year-old girl, this was a chance to make a difference. The laughter and chatter of patrons faded into background noise as she approached the counter, her big, hopeful eyes shining with an innocence that belied the weight of her family's struggles. "Excuse me," she said, her voice sweet yet trembling. "Can I please have some food? We're really hungry." Her request hung in the air, a moment suspended in time. The faces of local veterans and teachers crinkled in confusion. Whispered conversations buzzed like summer bees around her, igniting an awakening compassion. Here was a child, so small, and yet so brave. In that instant, Mia became more than just a girl asking for food. She became a beacon of light, illuminating the hidden struggles of those in her tight-knit community. As patrons exchanged glances, Mia's innocent plea sparked discussions that rippled through the diner. "What if we all pitched in to help?" suggested Mrs. Thompson, the local librarian, her voice growing stronger as she spoke. Murmurs of agreement followed. "No child should face hunger," echoed Mr. Williams, a retired teacher, who instantly stood up, looking around the room as if challenging those present. Mia felt the stirring energy ignite a flicker of hope inside her, as her world expanded beyond the confines of her family's worries, but amidst this blossoming camaraderie, shadows lurked. Some patrons misinterpreted Mia's request, whispering harsh judgments behind their hands. She shouldn't be begging. Her parents should be taking care of her, one man spat under his breath, and Mia felt the earth shift beneath her. A lump formed in her throat, stinging her innocent belief that kindness would prevail. Why was it wrong to ask for help? The air grew thick with tension, and Mia's cheeks flushed. Now, she was caught in a web of misunderstanding, battling the very essence of her bravery. But before she could retreat into her own hurt, a wave of support emerged. A neighbor, Mrs. Jensen, stood firm, confronting the judgment in the air. "This is our community, and we need to lift each other up, not tear each other down," she cried. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As the storm of prejudice began to calm, Mia looked up, her eyes reflecting the flickers of kindness that still sparkled in the diner. But new challenges awaited, as the true test of this community's spirit loomed on the horizon. Were they genuinely committed to standing beside her family? Or would their newfound unity dissolve under the weight of unspoken fears and doubts? Mia's heart raced with uncertainty and hope. The shadows still lingered, but her tiny hands held not just a plea for food but dreams of change. Would her bravery be the first step toward reshaping her family's destiny? The answer whispered like the summer breeze, leaving the air taut with anticipation. Mia stood at the counter, holding her breath as the murmurs around her began to shift. She could feel every heart in the diner, pulsating with a mix of tenderness and hesitation. As the tide turned, she sensed the warmth of community seeping through the cracks of doubt. Mrs. Thompson was the first to step forward completely. Placing an order for several meals, she smiled at Mia, her eyes glistening. "I'll take care of the food today, sweetie," she said, her voice tender, as if wrapping Mia in a blanket of safety. The words dispelled some of Mia's worry, but the shadows still flickered, hiding in the corners. But before Mia could respond, a rush of other patrons began to join Mrs. Thompson. "And I'd like to donate too," chimed in Mr. Williams, pulling cash from his pocket. "Let us make sure Mia and her family have enough to eat." The energy in the diner transformed. It was contagious, an affliction of compassion spreading like wildfire. One by one, hands reached into wallets. The newfound resolve shimmered in the air. Mia's heart began to swell, a buoyant joy battling with the weight of her earlier concern. Maybe this was how communities healed, yet, as the joyful clatter surrounded her, Mia could see a couple of familiar faces off to the side, their scowls sharper than knives. They whispered to each other, shaking their heads in disapproval. "She's just using them. It's a shame to see the diner pandering," one of them sneered. The harshness stung Mia, making her feel smaller than before, as if she was a single candle flickering against the wind. Mrs. Jensen, sensing the negative energy, turned toward the two critics. "Why do you think it's wrong to help someone in need? Can't you remember a time when you needed help yourself?" Her voice rose, filled with a fierce protectiveness, while her words hung in the air, challenging the patrons to reassess their beliefs. Mia felt that surge of energy again, a reminder of why she had suggested coming here in the first place. It was always about more than just a meal, it was about connection, about breaking down barriers. She didn't just want food, she wanted her family's struggles to be recognized. As Mrs. Jensen continued to advocate for her and many offered encouragement, Mia found her confidence rekindling. With every meal ordered, every contribution made, she began to see glimmers of change. But would it be enough? Would the divisive voices simmering on the outskirts drown out this new wave of kindness? The diner's energy seemed to pulse, cautious yet alive with possibility. Mia's heart trembled as she spoke up again, her voice unwavering and strong. "Thank you all. Thank you for helping me. But what if we could do more than just today?" The words hung in the air like fireworks, igniting curiosity in the eyes of everyone present. "What do you mean?" Mrs. Thompson asked, intrigued. Mia took a deep breath, feeling a wave of determination, ready to transform her simple plea into something much larger. "What if we could help everyone who is hungry, not just my family?" A collective gasp followed as the diner fell silent. Hope sparked, bright and fierce, but could it truly ignite a movement in their small town? The tension returned, and Mia saw nervous glances exchanged. Did they fear the work it might take? Were they ready to seize this moment of unity? Mia's question lingered, demanding an answer. Would the community take the leap together, or would hesitation hold them back once more? Only time would tell. Mia watched the faces of the patrons around her closely. Some looked intrigued, others skeptical, but many wore expressions of contemplation as they absorbed her words. The air was thick with uncertainty, like waiting for a storm to break. She swallowed hard, clinging to the silence that followed her question, willing someone to respond. Tommy, a soft-spoken teenager who usually kept to himself, broke the tension first. "What if we set up a food drive?" His voice was low but steady. "We could ask everyone to donate non-perishable items. If we could get enough, maybe we could even have a soup kitchen or something." Mia felt a glimmer of hope brighten her heart. "That's a great idea, Tommy," she exclaimed, her excitement spilling over. The notion of making a tangible difference ignited in her, and she could see a few nodding in agreement. "Sure, why not?" piped up Linda, a waitress who had been watching quietly. "We can leave boxes here at the diner for people to drop off food. And I can volunteer to help sort it out." Murmurs of assent echoed around the room, gathering momentum. There was a tangible shift in the air, as if the very walls of the diner vibrated with possibility. Mia looked around, her heart racing as more people began to contribute their ideas. Mrs. Thompson pondered out loud, "Maybe we can partner with local farms too. They could donate fresh produce. We can make this a community thing, not just about you, Mia, but everyone struggling." But then, from the corner, the critical voices returned. "You really think this will work?" One of them scoffed, crossing her arms defiantly. "It's just a band-aid on a much bigger issue. People don't just need food, they need jobs and stability." Mia met her gaze, feeling the sting of her words, but also a spark of determination igniting within her. She realized then that doubt might always linger, but she could choose how to respond. "You're right," she acknowledged with sincerity, "but every little bit helps. We can't wait for everything to be perfect before we start helping others." Her voice was steadier now, fueled by the collective energy swirling around her. We can work on supporting not just families like mine, but also helping each other find jobs and resources. The murmurs were quieter this time, a mixture of hesitation and growing interest. Let me help with that. Mr. Williams stood, his face brightened with enthusiasm. I know a couple of folks who might be looking for some extra hands. We can help direct people to those opportunities. The floodgates began to open. One after another, patrons started offering their ideas. Ideas blossomed into plans, and soon there was a growing list of ways to help, far beyond just feeding the hungry. A community garden was proposed, workshops on resume writing, even a local business fair. Mia's spirit soared as she watched the transformation unfold. It felt monumental to see those who had once eyed her with skepticism now leaning forward with interest, excitement replacing their doubts. And yet, a part of her remained cautious. Can we really do this? She wondered aloud, scanning the room for assurance. Can we turn the tide and make a lasting change together? Their faces reflected a new kind of possibility. The energy in the diner pulsed with hope, but would they carry this momentum beyond the walls of the diner? Would they truly come together to challenge the hesitation that had kept them apart for so long? As Mia mulled over her thoughts, one lingering question bubbled up within her. Would they be able to maintain this spirit of unity when faced with the struggles that lay ahead? And what would it take to ensure that their newfound determination wouldn't falter? The following week, the diner buzzed with an energy unlike anything Mia had experienced before. Posters for the food drive adorned the walls, colorful drawings made by local children adorned with slogans like "No one should go hungry" and "Together, we are stronger." Mia arrived early that morning to help set up the donation boxes. Linda was already there, sorting through the first few bags of food that had started to trickle in. A mixture of canned vegetables, pasta, and boxes of cereal filled the bins, but it was the sight of the community coming together that truly warmed Mia's heart. We're off to a good start, Mia said, her voice full of excitement as she opened a can of kidney beans. She had made it a point to bring what she could from home, feeling that small contribution added to something greater. Look at this, Linda said, holding up a large bag of rice. Mrs. O'Leary down the street dropped this off. She said she used to work in a soup kitchen and wants to help again. She'll be coming to help us sort all the donations tomorrow. Her eyes sparkled, and Mia felt the thrill of possibility in their small acts of kindness. As the doors swung open to the diner later that day, patrons began pouring in. Families, friends, even the elderly who usually sat in the back corner creaked their way to the front with smiles. They carried bags, boxes, even some homemade goodies to share with those in need. It was a sight Mia wished she could capture forever. Cheers and laughter filled the air, muffling the worries that had once clung to them, but just as a sense of triumph began to settle in, a fragile voice pierced through the noise. A tiny girl, no older than 7, stood at the entrance, clutching a well-loved teddy bear in one hand and a tattered backpack in the other. Her dark hair fell in loose curls, and her wide eyes seemed to absorb the scene before her. Mia moved closer, sensing the girl's apprehension. "Hey there, sweetheart. Would you like to come in? We're gathering food to help families who need it." The girl shuffled her feet nervously. I just wanted to help," she mumbled. "I don't have much," but from her backpack, she pulled out a small, crumpled box of granola bars. "I brought these. They're my favorite, but I think other kids might need them more than I do." Mia's heart twisted with emotion as she knelt down to the girl's level. "That's really brave of you. You're helping more than you realize. And you know what? We'll make sure these granola bars find a wonderful home," she said, her voice thick with tenderness. Other patrons began to notice. A chorus of murmurs rippled through the crowd. People dropped what they were holding and gathered around the child, kneeling down, offering smiles of encouragement. Inspired by her selflessness, several others began to contribute items from their own bags. It became a moment of spontaneous generosity, validating the small and large acts of kindness alike. amidst the crowd's warm reactions, Mia felt a renewed sense of purpose. She watched as the girl's face lit up, a beautiful smile breaking through her earlier shyness. It was a sacred moment, a reminder of the goodness that existed in people, waiting to be shared, yet, even as hope blossomed, Mia felt something tugging deep within her. Would this spirit of kindness last? Would families continue to show up, not just for the food but for the support they all genuinely needed? The commitment they had all shown today was just a fleeting glimpse, but what if they had the power to transform it into something lasting? What if that little girl's act of generosity was the catalyst they needed to ignite a deeper change in their community? As Mia watched the faces of the people around her, the warmth, the connection, she realized they were standing on the brink of something monumental. The question lingered in her heart, would they all step forward together into the challenge that lay ahead? And what if the girl's simple act of kindness could inspire more transformative moments just like it? The next morning brought a gentle dawn, the sun spilling golden light through the diner windows. Mia arrived with a sense of purpose pulsing in her chest. The ripple effect from yesterday's events hummed in the air. It felt like the town itself had awakened, ready to contribute to something deeper, something meaningful. As she stepped inside, she found Linda sorting donations with an energy that seemed boundless. The tables showcased an impressive array: jars of peanut butter, sacks of flour, and piles of canned goods awaited their final destination. "Look at this!" Linda exclaimed, gesturing excitedly as she showcased a box overflowing with colorful cereal boxes. "We've already received more food than we expected." Just then, the front door swung open, and the little girl from the day before bounded in, her teddy bear still tucked under her arm and a proud smile on her face. Behind her followed two more children, one carrying a basket and the other clutching a colorful drawing scrawled in crayon. "We want to help," the girl declared confidently. Mia's heart swelled. "This is wonderful. Thank you for coming back." She knelt down again, her eyes meeting the girl's bright gaze. "Did you bring something to share?" The girl nodded eagerly, gesturing for her companions to step forward. The boy with the basket revealed an assortment of baked goods, cookies and muffins still warm, and explained that they'd whipped them up in the morning with their mother. "It's not much," he said, his voice soft but full of pride. "But we thought maybe kids who get the food could have treats too." The little girl presented her crayon drawing. "This is for you," she said, her enthusiasm igniting the room. "It's a picture of everyone at the diner helping together." Mia felt tears prick her eyes. The children had placed value in their small treasures, a gesture so simple yet so deeply precious. "Thank you, this is incredible," she said, pinching the drawing lightly, careful not to crush it. "You're bringing smiles to so many faces today." Within minutes, the diner transformed into a haven of laughter and joy as more people poured in. Families and friends exchanged smiles, bonding over their shared goal. There was no hesitation as patrons dug deep into their pockets, providing not just food but heartfelt contributions: handwritten notes, knit blankets, stories, and even toys. Each offering sent a ripple through the crowd, a reawakening of the community spirit. As Mia moved about, speaking with the contributors, a heavy feeling began to settle in the back of her mind. Would this warmth last beyond the food drive, or would it dissipate like morning mist? She caught a glimpse of Mrs. O'Leary, carefully weaving through the crowd, a smile lighting her face. It ignited a spark of hope within Mia. Maybe, she thought, this is all a part of something greater. The little girl beamed as Mia hugged her, whispering, "You've started something big." With groceries piling high and voices merging into a symphony of laughter, Mia realized how much these small connections mattered. The diner felt alive, a pulse of unity beating stronger than she ever thought possible, but vast questions loomed in the air. They weren't just feeding bodies, they were trying to nourish souls. Could all this energy be harnessed for more than just one day? Would the bonds being formed stretch beyond this moment? That evening, as they prepared to close, Mia caught sight of a patchwork of smiles among the community, a tapestry of hope woven through shared experiences. With a heart full of promise, she thought, what if they could turn this incredible moment into a movement? Would others lend their hands and hearts to a cause that could change lives long after this drive was over? As she locked up the diner and stepped into the cool evening, Mia could feel an untamed excitement simmering below the surface. The open road was ahead, and the question remained, what would they embark on next? The next morning brought a crispness to the air, a clear indication that fall was settling in. Mia stood at the diner counter, absently wiping it down as she replayed the previous day's events. The memories of laughter and joy were still fresh, but in her heart, an urgency pulsed. She needed to keep this momentum going. With a determined spirit, she pulled out her phone and started typing a message to her friends. "Let us meet at the diner at 6. I have an idea." She hit send, the weight of anticipation lifting from her shoulders. Yet, deep down, a voice nagged at her. Could an idea really fuel lasting change? As the evening approached, more familiar faces gathered at the diner. Linda hustled around, her laughter filling the air, while others took their seats, curiosity alight in their eyes. Mia stood at the front, her heart racing. She welcomed them with a warm smile. "Thank you all for coming. I've been inspired by the love and kindness we saw yesterday. I think we should do more. I mean, really do more." A murmur ran through the crowd. Excited glances were exchanged, but skepticism tinged the air. Sarah, a local mother, leaned forward, her eyebrows raised. "What do you mean? What more can we do?" Mia took a deep breath. "What if we host a weekly community dinner? A place where people can come together, share a meal, and connect? It can be for anyone, even those who might not have family around. A gathering to celebrate what we have, not just food, but each other." The room fell silent. Faces shifted from interest to doubt. Jack, an older gentleman known for his gruff exterior, piped up. "Sounds great, but how are we supposed to fund this? It ain't cheap to feed everyone." Mia nodded, understanding his concern. "We have already shown how we can gather materials and support. The beauty of yesterday was that we were a community, coming together. Let us make this a regular thing. We can collect donations each week, get local businesses involved. It could be a monthly event or even more." Linda chimed in, her enthusiasm ablaze. "Think of the partnerships. Local farmers could donate produce, bakeries could pitch in. Just imagine the connections we could make." Mia's heart surged as others began to talk excitedly, brainstorming ideas. Maybe her vision was taking root after all. But just as quickly as hope bubbled, it was met with a wave of doubt from Sarah. "What if we can't generate enough interest? What if nobody shows up?" Mia felt the weight of Sarah's words. She felt that fear herself. What if this spark flickered out before it even ignited? "We'll start small," she replied softly. "If even a few come, that's a start, isn't it?" There was a pause, absorbing the idea. Then, unexpectedly, the little girl from the day before appeared again, her teddy bear in hand, a hopeful grin spreading across her face. "Can I help?" she asked, her voice clear and full of innocence. "I want to help everyone eat and be happy." The sincerity poured over the room like warm sunshine. Mia's heart soared at the sight of the child's pure intentions. "Of course. We'll need all the hands we can get." Mia looked around, gauging the shifting energy. As her eyes met those of the community members, she saw some of them smiling, their eyes creased with thought and intrigue. "Let us do it, shall we?" she said, her voice steady. "Let us come together to make this happen. We've already taken the first step, now let us take the leap." The room erupted into chatter, plans being made, ideas sparking. Mia marveled at the power of one little girl's desire to help, but as the conversations grew louder, a flicker of fear nestled into Mia's chest. What if this was a fleeting moment of inspiration amid uncertainty? Could this truly become a stronghold for community, a movement of love and connection? Only time would reveal the journey ahead. As the evening wound down, Mia stepped outside, gazing at the stars beginning to dot the sky. Despite the uncertainty, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. She was determined to see it through. But she wondered what would their first dinner look like. Would it be the beginning of something beautiful or just another memory faded away? The following days were a whirlwind of planning and preparations. The small diner buzzed with excitement and a hint of anxiety as the community rallied around Mia's idea. Posters were tacked up on bulletin boards, social media buzzed with invites, and phone calls flew between neighbors discussing how they could all pitch in. Slowly, the thought of a community dinner was transforming from an idea into something tangible. Mia felt on top of the world. Each time she saw a new name on the sign-up sheet at the diner, her heart lifted. The community was taking ownership, just as she had hoped. But deep within, she couldn't shake the nagging thought, what if it wasn't enough? As the sun began to set on the day of the first community dinner, Mia arrived early to set up. She squeezed lemons for lemonade, filled trays with utensils, and placed stacks of napkins on tables. Each movement felt monumental, as if she were laying the foundation of something much bigger than herself. When the doors finally opened at 6, the diner overflowed with warmth and laughter. Families filed in, old friends greeted each other, and Mia's own friends stood behind the counter, eager to serve. The little girl, now known as Ellie, busied herself helping Linda with the food. A pure smile stretched across Mia's face as she watched them work together, the joy palpable. The first guests filled their plates and took their seats, voices mingling in a chorus of genuine connection. Mia moved from table to table, soaking in every laugh, every story shared. It felt electric. But as the dinner commenced, a knot of worry lingered in her stomach. What if we could have done more? She murmured to herself. She glanced at the food. Would there be enough? Then, midway through the meal, a single mother approached Mia. Her eyes glistened, emotion spilling over in her gaze. This means so much to us, she began, her voice shaky with gratitude. I was worried I wouldn't have anyone to share a meal with, and now look at this. Thank you for bringing us all together. Mia's heart swelled. In that moment, the nervousness slipped away. She watched as others joined in, sharing their feelings about the dinner. People were opening up, recounting stories of loss, resilience, and hope. It wasn't just about the food, it was about community. Just as Mia relaxed, an unexpected voice sliced through the air. A man standing at the back, wearing a worn jacket and a hesitant expression, cleared his throat. I just came in for a sandwich, but I found so much more, he said, looking around the gathered crowd. I've felt alone for a long time. Can we do this every week? Mia's breath caught in her throat. The weight of his words landed heavy on her heart. This was the true essence of their gathering. Everyone here needed a place to belong. As the evening waned and laughter slowly turned into light chatter, Mia knew she had to act before this moment slipped away. Everyone, she called out, her voice confident but filled with emotion. I can feel the spirit of this dinner. Let's make it a regular event. How about we call it community table? Cheers erupted, and the diner felt electric again. Plans began to spark around the room, enthusiastic discussions on how they could keep it going, how they could make it bigger and better every week. But just as the momentum built, Mia noticed Ellie, her little friend, sitting quietly at a table, her hands clenching a stuffed bear. The innocence in her expression suddenly made Mia pause. What did this little girl need? Mia approached her gently, crouching down to meet her eye level. Hey, sweet pea, everything okay? Ellie's voice was barely a whisper. I hope everybody comes back. Mia cradled her tiny hands in her own, feeling the weight of her words. Me too, Ellie. But if they don't, she hesitated, searching for the right words that could soothe a child's uncertainties. We can still keep doing this. We can make it bigger. We will create a place everyone can come to. As they held each other's gaze, Mia felt the pulse of purpose in her chest. This was just the beginning. But lurking in the background, a familiar face hung like a shadow at the edge of the diner, his frown palpable. Who was he? And why did he look so uncomfortable in this moment of joy? With a flip of the diner sign from open to closed, Mia's heart raced. What trouble loomed outside? Would it disrupt their newfound unity? As the diner's atmosphere sparkled with hope, Mia's mind spun at the sight of the shadowy figure, his silhouette a stark contrast to the warm glow inside. She could feel the joy in the diner, the laughter threading through the air, but something about him made her uneasy. Who was he, and what could he possibly want? The figure lingered by the entrance, arms crossed, his brow creased with concern. He seemed torn between stepping in and retreating. Was he here for help or just passing by? Mia's heart thudded as she caught Ellie's worried gaze lingering on him. "I'll be right back, Ellie," she whispered, trying to conceal the flutter of anxiety. "Just keep smiling, okay?" Mia stood, breathing deeply to calm herself before striding towards the man. As she approached, she could make out the lines on his face, the remnants of a life etched in worry. "Hey there," she greeted him, softening her tone. "Are you looking for something?" He shifted uncomfortably, glancing back at a group just inside the diner, enjoying their meal. I wasn't sure if I could come in," he said, his voice gravelly yet fragile. "I saw all the joy in here and wanted to, but I'm not sure I belong." Mia's heart ached at his words. "You absolutely belong," she replied firmly, gesturing to the vibrant crowd. "This dinner is for everyone. Come inside. There's plenty of food, enough to share." He hesitated but then took a small step inside, the sounds of laughter reaching him like a tether. Mia watched as he hesitated again at the threshold, a heaviness in his posture. What held him back? "Just think of it as an invitation to join the family," she encouraged. "We believe community is built on connections, and that's why we're here." The stranger met her eyes, uncertainty flitting through his. I haven't been part of a community in a while," he confessed. "I've lost a lot." "Join the club," Mia smiled gently. "We've all got our stories. What matters is that we're here together now. You're not alone anymore." The words hung between them, filled with the weight of shared struggles. Mia stepped aside, urging him to enter. Finally, he moved forward, stepping into the love and light of the diner. A wave of quiet murmurs passed through the diners as he approached the counter. Mia could see Ellie watching, her little face lighting up with curiosity. "Can I sit with you?" the man asked, his eyes darting to the gathered tables, unsure of where to go. "Of course," Ellie exclaimed, hopping off her chair. "You can sit next to me." As he sat down beside her, the entire diner seemed to shift. Conversations softened, faces turned towards the newcomer, and Mia felt the power of community knitting itself tighter. Moments passed, and smiles blossomed, drawn out by Ellie's innocent questions and shared giggles. The man began to relax, easing into the atmosphere. It felt magical, as if they were all weaving a new fabric of connection, one thread at a time. Yet, as Mia took a step back to relish the moment, her gaze drifted toward the entrance again. A few more unfamiliar faces stood outside, watching hesitantly. Would they also find the courage to step into this newfound family? Determined, Mia moved towards them, her heart beating with anticipation. Could she gather more souls waiting for the warmth of togetherness? Would her simple idea of a community dinner evolve into something larger? As she reached the door, the question hung in the air: would they come in and join them? The door swung open wider, catching the attention of the diners inside. Mia paused, the joyous laughter momentarily fading as the new faces peered in. Three women huddled together, their expressions a mix of uncertainty and hope. They stood in the fading light of dusk, their silhouettes framed against the bright diner. Taking a deep breath, Mia stepped toward them, her heart flaring with empathy. "Hi there. Are you looking for something?" she called out, her tone woven with warmth. The tallest of the women shifted on her feet. "We're a bit lost. We heard there might be food here." "Yes. Come in." Mia gestured enthusiastically, her voice ringing with encouragement. There's more than enough for everyone. As the trio crossed the threshold, a ripple of excitement spread through the diner. Ellie bounced in her seat, her eyes twinkling with delight. More friends! She shouted, drawing giggles from the other tables. The women moved hesitantly, but Mia's smile seemed to embrace them, easing their anxiety. Mia noticed one of them, a younger woman with tired eyes, casting wary glances around. "It's really okay to be here?" she asked softly. "Absolutely. We believe in sharing, especially when times are tough," Mia replied, her heart swelling as she looked into the woman's eyes. "You're just as important as anyone else here." The moment hung, fragile yet electrifying. The women exchanged glances, an unspoken question in their eyes, before finally nodding and following Mia to an empty table. The atmosphere shifted as more people began to approach the counter, drawn by the captivating energy of the newcomers. Mia watched as dinner plates filled with steaming food were passed around, the scent wafting through the air like a warm hug. Ellie introduced herself to the new girls, eagerly initiating conversation. "What's your favorite food?" "I love tacos." "Can you guess why?" Her innocent question brought laughter, breaking the tension that had shadowed their entrance. As the women started to engage, Mia felt a swell of hope. They were starting to drop their guards. The diner's essence transformed, creating an almost tangible blanket of acceptance. Faces lit up, stories began to unfold, and laughter rang out like music, intertwining lives one conversation at a time. Yet, beneath the surface of this vibrant scene, Mia felt a quiet tremble. The more people who came in, the more she sensed each of them carried unspoken burdens. What stories did they hide behind those smiles? Was each plate filled just as much with food as it was with the healing they desperately sought? Just then, the man who had first come in, the one who had shared his pain of loss, was leaning closer to Ellie, returning her cheerful energy with a gentle smile. "You know," he said, his voice low yet clear, "this is the first time in a long while that I've felt welcomed. Thank you for inviting me." Mia caught his eye and nodded. It was an echo of her own feelings. The realization struck her she was building something more than just a weekly dinner. She was fostering a sanctuary for shared healing. As the strains of an upbeat song played from the jukebox, Mia turned toward the door again. She noticed an older gentleman with a frail frame lingering on the curb, his hands shoved deep in his pockets. He looked lost but hopeful. Would he join us too? She wondered, her heart racing. There were still souls outside, waiting for that invitation. Would this evening bring more than just warmth? Would it create a movement, a refuge where everyone could belong? Yes, Mia whispered to herself, yearning to reach out, we'll welcome him too. With determination bubbling in her chest, she stepped toward the threshold, ready to share this light with whoever needed it. But just as she was about to call out, she heard a voice. It came from behind her, filled with urgency. "Mia, wait, what was happening now?" Her heart quickened, bracing itself for whatever came next. "Mia, wait," the voice came from Linda, her friend's eyes wide and filled with concern. Mia turned and felt a ripple of anxiety race through her. "What's wrong?" she asked, stepping closer to the counter where Linda stood. "Look around," Linda said, gesturing to the gathering crowd. "It's bustling, but are we ready for this? Will we have enough food? Enough seating?" Mia glanced over her shoulder, taking in the smiles, the laughter, and the stories being shared. The diner felt alive, bursting at its seams with heartfelt connection. But doubt flickered like a candle threatening to extinguish in a gust of wind. "We need to ensure we can sustain this," Linda continued, her urgency palpable. Mia took a deep breath, her resolve firming. "We can do it," she asserted, her voice steady. "This is the start of something bigger. We have to believe in this community and our capacity to support one another." As she spoke, the room came to life again, with people noticing the concerned expressions on their faces. Tommy, the soft-spoken teenager, stood up. "What if we break off into groups?" he suggested. We can each take a section. Some could manage the food, others set up for next week, and others could gather stories. We can keep this energy flowing. Hope surged within Mia at his words. Yes. His idea could organize their mission, directing all their enthusiasm into tangible actions. With renewed vigor, Mia clapped her hands to gather attention. All right, everyone. We're turning this into a group effort. Cheers erupted, echoing against the diner's walls. The call to action resonated. People immediately began teaming up, forming small circles of energy pulsating with ideas. Laughter and camaraderie filled the air, the heart of the diner thrumming with purpose. Mia felt giddy with excitement as she caught glimpses of people drawing plans, others sharing recipes, and some actively brainstorming what their community dinners could evolve into. It was no longer just about feeding others, it was about building hope. As she wandered from table to table, the older gentleman from outside suddenly caught her eye again. He took a hesitant step forward. "Excuse me," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I overheard what you just said and wanted to help." "I can cook." His hands trembled slightly, and Mia saw the hunger for belonging deepen in his eyes. "Of course." Mia rushed over to him. "We'd love your help." "What's your name?" "Mr. Jacobs," he replied, a hint of relief washing over his expression. "I used to run a small restaurant before things changed." Mia felt her heart tingle. "You're just what we need. Imagine what we can do together." The spark of excitement erupted again. Mr. Jacobs wasn't just a cook, he was a treasure trove of culinary wisdom. The connections were blossoming like wildflowers amid the warmth radiating in the diner. As they began discussing recipes, Mia noticed the other new guests from earlier coming closer, curiosity taking hold. That visible bond of support and exploration drew them in like moths to a flame. This was what she had hoped for, a delicious blend of personalities, cuisines, and dreams woven together. Then, as hours passed and the last plates were cleared, a quiet hush fell once more. Mia looked at the faces gathered around the big, long table. She could feel it, the warmth in her heart, the depth of connection wrapping around them like a comforting embrace. "Let us promise each other," she said softly, her voice steady yet filled with emotion, "that we'll meet again next week and every week after. Let us create this as a space for everyone to eat, laugh, and be heard." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, heads nodded vigorously. "Together," Tommy echoed, "we build our community." Mia smiled at the familiar faces surrounding her, each one a testament to transformation, overcoming together, and embracing the development of their newfound family. As they began to depart, she lingered behind, watching with tears welling in her eyes. The excitement of possibility was like fireworks in her heart. But deep down, she knew this was just the beginning. They would face challenges, of that she was sure. Yet with every soul who joined, every story shared, they would grow stronger together. With each visitor, they sparked the kind of kindness that carried the potential to challenge their community to step beyond that diner door, to change lives one meal at a time. And amidst the laughter, Mia couldn't shake the belief that this moment, this realization, was the catalyst for something incredible brewing just beyond the horizon. As she locked the doors that night, she looked up at the stars, the universe shining bright, echoing her own burgeoning dreams. Here, a movement was taking flight. The future beckoned, demanding her attention, hoping for her commitment. She smiled, feeling blessed and ready for whatever lay ahead, and so, the call to action echoes now. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about this journey and transformation. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful moment of change. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.